Welcome to Above the Garage.
Hi, friends. Welcome to our discussion of episode 3 of The Veil. Let's do our round of introductions and dive in.
Hi, I'm Raquel.
Hi, I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Kate. All right, so did you guys like this episode? I think it's more exciting than the last couple.
Yeah, there was more action, I like the introduction of the new buddies.
Yeah, I like the new guys in it. And also there's an actual threat now, whereas before it was not really very urgent. Even though you heard about it, like now you know what it is. And that scene was insane, the radiation scene. But anyway, we'll get there. So the last minute cameo from the last episode has returned for a minute anyway, and this new gentleman is reversing the women's steps from Istanbul back to the Turk and Syrian border. Our first sign of that is the cool shot of the V Road again, which we liked in the first one. V for Vale. Before we see him walking into the camp like he owns the place. The security here is not too impressive, huh? It's like there's 3 employees on the entire camp for 10,000 people.
Yeah.
There was loads of security at first as well, right? When they had Adilah, but I presume that might have.
Yes, there was at least the guy guarding her tent, and I feel like maybe we saw more when Imogen was entering the camp than now when it's literally nobody. Except the unfortunate comms guy who's just not having the best show. Always getting smoked out of his tent, and now this. He unfortunately notices the intruder, alerts the Australian head of the place, who deigns the mystery worthy of departing from the game. Oh yeah, so I guess all those people in there are employees, so they probably have like 7 employees for 10,000 people. As he heads out to greet the new guy, the new unwelcome guest is counting off his footsteps, and now we learn the treasure at the end of Adilah's map. The cell phone she apparently buried here at the refugee camp off-screen back in episode 1. We didn't see her bury it before, right? We just saw her look at it.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wonder when she did that, because she kind of left pretty directly. Anyway, he's just found it when the 2 camp employees find him, and unsurprisingly, in lieu of sharing his name with them, he just kills them on the spot. Rest in peace, comms guy.
And the Aussie dude, rest in peace.
Yes, both of them. I was going to say him too, but I like the comms guy the best, so he gets second billing.
When the guy opened his phone, it said like favorite callers. It was like all the days of the week, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's everything on that phone, which I was expecting more, to be honest.
Do you think that it's literally Monday when he's calling? Do you think like you call someone every day of the week, or?
I don't know why it's useful, but yes, I think that there's a different phone on the receiving end of that call for every day of the week. It seems like it should be the same guy because he's in the room with the radiation equipment and stuff. But yeah, it was a little bit of an anticlimactic map.
Yeah. How the hell did he find that with that little tiny map?
I don't know. And also, like, the steps he was taking don't make sense. Like, he was counting out giant man steps, which Adilah wouldn't have been taking. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Point is, he found it. And now all the employees at the camp are dead, or refugees. Turns out that secondhand smoke wasn't really going to matter for the comms guy after all, sadly. He used the code 9486 to get into it, if that was relevant in any way that I am unaware of.
I knew you were going to write that down.
I know, because I like to look at detail. Yeah, so after he makes the call, there's a new player in the game that is afoot. Holed up in a deserted hospital, it seems. And then once again, we have the cryptic begin. But I think from the other side, the bad guy's here. And then he wakes, which is just like an amazing coincidence that
it is.
Both the good guys and the bad guys speak cryptically this exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
He then wakes the other man in the room, laying on the lone cot, and announces it's time.
Yeah, I kind of realized that their fate wasn't going to be too nice.
So far, not a lot of people have happy outcomes in this show. Back with Imogen and Adilah, Imogen is displaying her terrible chess game, hopefully as more of a cover for her not being a spy, because she's really bad. Trying to act like she can't think strategically any steps ahead. And she's skipping to random conversational topics, per her usual MO, this time the allure and the smell of Western pharmacies. Adilah's more focused on the why of Imogen's apparent habit of helping women cross international borders. Implied by her relationship with Mr. DeMille, I guess. And Imogen claims that she's only done it once before for a woman and her baby, and delights when Adilah calls her an angel. We also get a time update. Turns out they've only been together for about 77 hours so far. And then out of the blue, a friendly stranger with lots of nice hair joins them to watch their game, simply because he loves chess.
He's obsessed.
Yes, obsessed with chess, which rhymes. But his message to Adilah that her king is now where he should be and all will now fall into place kind of doesn't feel like he's actually talking about chess at all.
Dude, that was so obvious.
I know.
I was like, how can you?
Every time they're trying to talk cryptically, it's very obviously not a normal conversation. Like on the phone call in the last episode. I can't remember what it was she said to her alleged daughter, but it was clearly a message you'd be giving a child. You could have just stopped at your king is in place and maybe been a little less guilty. Anyway, both women look at him like they know that there's something more going on. As extra confirmation for us.
Was that Paris already?
They were in Sofia Airport in Bulgaria.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the next scene there at the Charles de Gaulle airport, testing out the veracity of their new fake IDs, courtesy of Mr. DeMille. Adilah's up first, and with a nervous smile, she's through. Imogen gets through even more quickly, and it makes me wonder if the border agent actually knows to let them through. I'd assume not. I assume these fake IDs just work.
They're that good, yeah. They pay a lot of money for them.
Yeah. Anyway, then they're on a moving walkway. This show loves the moving walkways in the Paris airport, it seems. When we hear Imogen instruct Adilah not to leave the apartment that she arranged for her, right before they round the corner, and Adilah starts running to her daughter's arms and her daughter's auntie. She introduces Yasmina to Imogen, who, by the way, previously looked almost pained to watch the reunion as it first unfolded. Did you guys notice that look?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seemed like her own personal memories came to mind.
Right, yeah.
Do you think it's her and her dad she's remembering, or do you think that she still has a daughter? Because now I'm still not sure. Like,
I think she did, but then later on in the episode, the guy that she keeps dreaming about, the guy from the following, what's his name again?
James Purefoy.
She says, when she's lying with like the baby clothes or like girls' clothes, so like, do you still remember her voice or her face or something like that?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Josh Charles looks good in Paris. I like seeing him in Paris. But he, very unkindly, tells Malik that he looks terrible, which I disagree with. Malik is very unpleasantly surprised by Max's continued presence in Paris after Max's own organization already cleared Adilah's name. But then Max explains that the new trail of dead bodies they just discovered behind Adilah's track tell another story. A little more trash talking about the French workday, and then Max officially declares a brief session open with Malik in the most obnoxious way possible on his phone camera, chasing Malik around Paris. As I think the point of this was to claim the operation for the CIA. Is that the gist of that?
Yeah.
Malik's response was a clear and recorded for posterity, fuck you, and a coffee bill, as the server from the restaurant chases Max down to pay for his good friend Malik's forgotten bill.
I like these two together. They're funny.
So do I.
I think that Malik isn't taking advantage, though. Like, he has plenty of ability to talk shit to Max right now because they're the Americans are the ones that cleared her. And now they're admitting they're wrong, but not doing so.
Just about this scene with the waiter. He gives her a 20 euro note, I think, for a £4.50, whatever it was. Very American.
Do American people give big tips?
I think so, right? It's not a thing in Europe, like, at all. Especially not for a coffee either. Like, if they're giving you food, maybe, but just for a drink, you wouldn't tip.
We don't tip here in Australia. Well, mostly you don't, like, unless I guess you really wanted to. You don't have to.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about tips. Like, if I went to like Europe or America, they're like, "Where's my tip, bitch?" I'm like, "Oh shit, how much do I need to give you?"
So you coming to America would be quite shocking because we tip like 20% of whatever bill. So
But I think that you seem like workers, like waiters and stuff, seem to get paid like absolute F all over there, right? So
yeah, so you'd think people would like Americans more when we're tourists, at least, because we can't quite give up the tipping thing, even when we're aware that it's not common in Britain. We're still, like, our idea of not tipping well is often like 15 or 18%, which is still, it's a lot of money, honestly, to add on.
So does the food in America, since you tip, is it cheaper?
No.
I don't think so.
Not from my experience having just traveled in Europe, no.
Is the drink as well? Like, you tip for drinks, like all they've done
We
is
tip for drinks.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, although I struggle a little with that because, yeah, like 20% for a drink Sometimes I'll just do like $1 or $2 for a drink per drink. I don't know. I tip excessively usually.
That's just crazy how they can pay them so little and they expect you to tip when the food's
Right.
still like the same price as. Yeah, that's crazy to me.
I would prefer a universal system.
Yeah, just pay people more for fuck's sake. Jesus, like it's not that difficult.
It'd be a lot easier to live in one of your countries. I would prefer not to have to think about tipping.
I thought you two might be pleased that my Shazam worked this time, and the song that was playing when we saw Max and Malik was Petit Fleur by this band name. It's hilarious, The Hot Sardines. So that made me laugh.
That is funny, and I'm also always pleased when Shazam works. It makes me
I know. This is the first time it's worked for me, so I was very excited about it.
Back in the tundra, the guy that intruded on the refugee camp gets unceremoniously shot moments after he's stepped out of his pickup truck, seemingly like he's looking for someone or something as prompted by the phone in his hand, which his murderer then picks up on his way to commandeering his victim's truck as well. But his victim was also the murderer of the last 2 murder victims, so who's to say he's in the wrong? Could be a good guy for all we know. Turns out, not so much. Back in the rundown hospital, they've picked up a 3rd man. The man sleeping on the hospital bed earlier has gained a new colleague, and the 2 of them are apparently planning on pulling a whole martyr gig. The man who safely handles the phone calls hands them both their death shrouds and warns them that their bodies won't even be handleable once they're done due to the amount of radiation after they die. That made me want to look up Muslim burial traditions. Is that why he told them that? I imagine it's important to be buried in a certain way.
Yeah, and I also feel like they have to be washed though, so
That ain't happening. Yeah, it is a religious requirement for Muslims that the body be ritually washed and draped before burial, which should be as soon as possible after death.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm really intrigued now. Like, this is just a typical, I don't know what it was, but like MRI machine or something that they're taking the inside out of to use, right?
Yes, it's some kind of radiology machine. Was the guy that instructed them what to do, was he Scottish?
Yes. Yeah, and then he details for them what their deaths are going to feel like. And damn, what an unpleasant death they've chosen to volunteer for. They are volunteering to expose the cores of these 2 radiation machines and drop each of the little radiation units into water in a container, which will then be sealed, obviously to make a bomb of some sort. And the phone guy makes it quite clear for them 1 minute into their mission, they'll be very sick, 2 minutes later blind, and 3 minutes dead. One of them is especially traumatized by what he signed up for, quite understandably, if you ask me, and the other consoles him, though he's also probably upset. But they believe they'll be rewarded after death for their sacrifice, and so they get to work. They get the core out, start dropping the radiation in the water, but in screen time at least, they get sick much faster than they were told they would, I think.
Yeah, it looked like it.
It was pretty immediate. One of them drops the core holding the cells before they get them to the water, but through sheer force of will manages to pick them up and throw them in, closing the lid just before they lay on the floor, reaching for each other's hands and die. Honestly, despite the horror of the scene, I thought the hand-holding was sweet.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's sweet, but then when you think about what they're actually doing, it's
right. Yeah.
Is it uranium poisoning? Is that what it is?
Uranium is poisoning, but I don't know what is in the core of these machines.
It would make sense, yeah. It's used in like
nuclear power?
Yeah, like nuclear weapons like explode and stuff.
Right. Back in Paris, Imogen is meeting up at a restaurant with her boyfriend Malik, but she's not so happy to see him as he is her. In fact, she straight up tells him she doesn't have time for this shit, and so he quickly gets to the point, telling her about the dead bodies they found, now including the low-level ISIS volunteer that killed the other 2. Imogen deals and I told you so. Malik concedes she was right. He warns her she can't carry on like the rogue she is. And on top of what Adilah's already done, they still think what she's about to do is much, much worse. A massive attack, killing thousands. Malik brags that they've got Adilah's apartment under surveillance. Imogen counters that she figured that, so she told her not to go there. That's really fucking infuriating. Anyway, Imogen is also extremely full of herself, insists that nobody else can achieve what she alone can achieve. Some champagne arrives, and then she stands up on a chair and adds a whole new accent to her repertoire. She announces her engagement with a Southern American accent to the restaurant to prove the point that she's the same caliber shapeshifter as Adilah.
I do feel sorry for Malik, though. Like, obviously, it's his case and things, but she's just, like, continues
He's such a
to.
pushover, though.
Yeah, he is though, but I think he really likes her. Like
I
that's what the
know,
feeling I
but
get
that
is
makes
that
me
he's like,
mad at him.
yeah, it does make me mad too. But I'm mad at both of them because I feel like
Right.
they're both kind of.
I feel like she may not have a single, like, sincere feeling for him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, right? I think he definitely likes her a lot more than she likes him, right?
Right.
Or maybe she's not letting herself feel that way for him. I don't know.
Yeah, I did have that feeling as well.
I actually, like, even felt later in the episode like she might be with Max.
Yeah.
Maybe they could just get together, and have a, what is it? Menage? No, what is
Yeah,
it?
menage a trois. They're in the right city for it.
Correct. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
No, that would hurt poor Malik's fragile heart.
But he knew it was like they know it's Russian FSB. The guy Russian, the baddie dude, is he Russian?
Well, his name is Amir, so it sounds not very Russian-y.
And he's in the Bulgarian Navy, right?
Yeah, is he Bulgarian? Is Russia and Bulgaria, are they close together?
There's a whole sea in between Russia and Bulgaria, but the Black Sea.
Oh.
At home showering, the look on her face seems like she's taken by memories again, it seems, but this is a live scene between her and Malik, right?
Yeah, I think it was real time.
So Malik is getting a little action, as is Imogen, before she is then later taken by flashbacks, laying on the bed and remembering the other guy who flashes up in her memories quite often.
His name is Michael.
Thank you. And he is asking if she can remember her face, presumably talking about the daughter. And that scene ends with real-time Imogen staring in the mirror, not so happily.
Did you say, Raquel, that she had children's clothes with her on the bed?
Well, she had like pink. They look like leggings, or like they look like girls' clothes. Wouldn't say like they were baby, but they look like girls' clothes.
Mm.
Adilah's looking real nervous too, sitting in whatever apartment Imogen has put her in. She's talking to the guy that shot the guys, telling him she doesn't know who Imogen really is and she needs to find out, and she needs to find out if she knows anything about their plan. Malik joins Imogen on a balcony, asking her about Adilah. He points out that they seem similarly intangible. Imogen admits that despite the lies, she feels like she's been more honest with Adilah than with most people. Malik points out everybody's the same in this game, but she takes it too far. She disappears herself, even to him, to her. He was worried about her in Istanbul, especially that it would bring back too many memories. So clearly he knows whatever we don't about the daughter. Although
Yeah.
later she says her dad died there.
No,
So
I think it's about her dad, to be honest. Yeah.
I thought what my notes were that I wasn't sure if she was actually being honest or if this is just like a persona she's created for herself about her dad being this diplomat, whatever. Then it does seem like everybody knows about it. So again, it does seem that's
Yeah.
legit.
I do think it's true, yeah.
Yeah.
well, and then later Max refers to her daddy issues.
Yeah.
So
Well, we know that she shared some real stuff with Malik then.
Yeah. Well, she says that to Adilah at one point, right? That well, at the end, I think, is when she asked about her true name and she said, like, most lies are partially true or something like that.
Adilah calls Imogen. Yasmina is sleeping so they can meet. Everyone and their mother is listening in. Alas, she knew that, and so this entire call was fake. The meetup had already been arranged in advance on the plane. She's not even going to tell Malik where she's meeting, and she's not too worried about him successfully having her followed, which is quite offensive, I think. Also, why didn't he just follow her?
Yeah.
But I guess because he thinks that he's slipped a tracker into her shirt without her knowing. But of course she knows.
Like, her phone and her shirt is like, come on, try a bit harder. Like,
I
she's not
know,
amazing
right?
spy, and you just put a tracker at her phone, please.
Yeah, it's so stupid. So of course she dumps the cell phone in a trash can, steps from her apartment, and gets the tracker out of her shirt a few steps later. She walks to an old cemetery, apparently the resting place of Jim Morrison. It is the Cimetière du Père Lachaise, according to Google Translate.
Very good accent.
Thank you.
Crazy how it seems that fans of Jim Morrison still, place things on his grave, right?
Yeah, that is interesting. We have some famous graves here in Philly, like Ben Franklin. So I can tell you, his fans have finally tired of placing things on his grave. Maybe it'll happen for Jim Morrison in a century or so. Alas, it is not Jim they seek. Adilah takes Imogen to the grave of her grandfather, who we've heard much about, relatively speaking. Imogen asks what the Arabic says, and Adilah challenged that she already knows, and Imogen probably isn't even her real name. Oh, it's time for the confrontation. Adilah pulls the back off the grave, finds something that she hid here. The actual revolver he used to fight the French colonizers. That's cool. She wanted to keep it somewhere useful. What better place than his grave? She's always kept the idea of killing herself on the back burner, or perhaps killing someone else, as she turns and holds Imogen at gunpoint. Demands to know everything, the truth this time. And it all comes down to annihilation of self, Imogen explains. She finds it fascinating. Her father was assassinated when she was little. He was a British diplomat, killed in Istanbul, in fact, but when she was 16. But she doesn't think he was really a diplomat. The TDKP killed him, the Revolutionary Communist Party of Turkey. Rumor has it they were controlled by the CIA. The thing she couldn't get past was there was nothing left after the car bomb to bury. So what did they even put in the coffin? I do think that that's probably a truth from her, that
Yeah.
I have heard that people really struggle when you don't get to see the person's died.
Yeah. I think this whole story is actually true from her.
Right.
Yeah.
Just not the whole truth, probably. Adilah's listened this whole time, but is not content with Imogen's answer, so she continues, tells her she's MI6, sent to the camp for Adilah, but the DNA test decided she wasn't important after all. So this is where she lies, that she believes that it's all over now. She just wants to help her because she likes her and she wants her to be with her daughter again, free of surveillance. And now Imogen asks Adilah, what's the verdict? Does your grandfather think I'm telling the truth? Grandpa has very poor instincts and has judged her, to be honest. Which is probably a lie, too. Everybody just lies all the time, so who the fuck knows?
I wish this show wasn't just 6 episodes, because I actually would have liked to have seen, because obviously Imogen's got all this missions that she's done prior. We saw a tiny bit at the beginning of the show, but sometimes I find it hard in my mind to like imagine how good someone is when we haven't seen it. I just wish we would have seen like some previous, and obviously it's too hard, there's 6 episodes, but
Right. But yeah, that's my problem too, is they're telling you what we're supposed to believe, that she's this amazing spy, but you're not seeing that, you know?
So I just wanted to shout out again Burton LeBlanc for his makeup. I think this is probably, of all Lizzie shows, this is one of my favorite looks that she has in this episode. Like, also the costume designer, her whole outfit is great, and the hair, but yeah, the makeup with the dark red lip, like she looks awesome.
She's gorgeous in this show.
I like the lighting they use as well. They really like work with the faces.
The overall cinematography is awesome too, especially at the cemetery. That cemetery is very cool.
I was going to say that. The setting.
Yeah.
I love cemeteries as a setting to begin with, and this one does not disappoint. Back in Istanbul, Amir is showing his credentials to enter a base of some sort. The Provadia Bulgarian Naval Fleet. We see him getting dressed in uniform. He looks quite different in uniform. Is it time, he asks, rather than saying it is time. And rundown hospital man tells him it is. I meant the hospital was run down, not the man. Anyway. That the other two sacrificed their lives and they'll be with him with the radiation container in 24 hours, inshallah.
So, James Bond moment.
Yes.
So this just reminded me of, it's probably in a million movies. I think it's in Mission Impossible as well, but
which of the 15 Mission Impossibles do you mean?
Oh, it could be any.
I'm just kidding. I don't care.
It
Please
could
just
be
proceed.
all.
Okay.
No, but The World Is Not Enough with Pierce Brosnan, they the similar thing happened where they had to put the exposed uranium into a nuclear reactor, but that was in a submarine. So that's why I was like, oh, are they gonna be in like a submarine and then they're like gonna go under and then bomb everything? But then it's not a submarine, it's a ship. So I don't know if they're gonna blow up the whole ship. Is everyone going down with the boat?
Are they still in Bulgaria?
I think so, yeah. So
where are they going?
The east coast of America. It must take a while.
It does say at the start of the scene where he goes into they're still in Istanbul. But interestingly enough, obviously it's the Bulgarian naval fleet and the boat's name is the Provadia, which is a town in Bulgaria. So
Either way, even coming from Turkey, I think that it would take a while to get there, and it was supposed to be within the next what, week to 10 days from the first episode. Yeah, they better get moving.
Yeah, I was surprised that the ship would only take 10 days to get to America.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. Now Imogen and Adilah are back in another fine dancing establishment. Imogen's talking up the Jinn Araka. She's brilliant, but she knew Adilah couldn't be the kind of woman that would kill thousands of people. She's just a mom that loves her daughter. She warns her that the Americans are never going to let her walk away, no matter what. And Adilah is hopeful that Imogen will help her and Yasmina get to safety. But Imogen needs a cigarette and leaves her hanging.
They play another Massive Attack song here as well. Angel, it's called.
Ah, which they called her Angel earlier. Big Massive Attack fans.
Yeah, the music's good in the show.
I love the music in the show. Yeah, agreed. While Imogen's gone, Adilah is approached by a man who slides her cash on the bar. More importantly, a note with instructions to bring Imogen to them tomorrow at La Rique at 8 p.m. This has to end. Outside, Imogen meets Max for the first time. On screen, anyway. They seem to know each other. Imogen immediately debriefs him that Adilah is still playing her while both helping them with the attack and also trying to escape with her daughter. Max makes fun of Imogen's infamous unique ways. It seems like her magical ways are just trusting her gut. Apparently, Imogen works for the CIA more than the DGSE. Interesting. He tells her to keep French intelligence at a distance. He doesn't trust them. She reminds him she's only working for him because the Americans have the most money and technology. Imogen also asks Max if he noticed the camp assassination was done in the style of the Russian FSB, which Max says is purely coincidence. That doesn't sound likely.
No.
Now she gets to what she really wants from the Americans, confirmation that the TDKP was a cover for the CIA and that they assassinated Marcus Seabright, and she wants to know why. Max recognizes this for what it is, daddy issues, but Imogen's done her research too. Something happened in Morocco in 2013 that she's able to use to blackmail Max.
I want to see that. I want to see Morocco 2013.
I want to see the Josh Charles spinoff. You're right. The Max spinoff.
Just one more Max. All his scenes are like really good.
Yeah, more Max, please.
Would her last name be Seabright then?
Sounds like it.
It sounds like she's playing both of them, right? Both the Americans and the French, although more
definitely.
So playing Malik.
The French,
By the sounds
maybe.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Who knows?
The point is she's playing everybody. Adilah approaches Imogen right after Max leaves. So, I feel like the timing was far too close. Was she watching that?
I mean, he was on the other side. There was a corner. So
But still,
in the other straight, you might not.
Yeah.
But she was clearly talking to somebody.
Right, and she approaches the second he walks away. I mean, no time in between.
There's too many of those though. When she's on the phone calls and both of them are talking to other people. They're there. The other person's
so guilty.
You can hear them.
Imogen agrees to help her, but Yasmina has to go back to, I couldn't understand that word, but presumably it's her aunt's, I assume, care. Adilah agrees and asks Imogen her real name, and she just says the best lies are mostly true. And then Amir is addressing the troops on the Navy ship, announcing they're visiting the U.S. The visit was known, it seems, but this ship has been chosen and is heading for the east coast of America. They're hoping to make a big impression when they get there, if you get his meaning.
So they're going to East Coast, so that's like New York, Washington area, right?
Right. And the truck with the radiation pulls up as he speaks.
I like that scene. That last scene was good. It give me a bit of goosey bumps because he is creeping me out. Do you think they'll blow the whole boat up, or do you think they'll carry the stuff off the ship into somewhere?
I think they'd have to carry it off just to cause more damage.
Yeah, I wonder how big the explosion
But I don't
would
know.
be, I guess.
I mean, they're obviously happy to die for their cause, so.
Are we assuming that they don't know about it?
I think they know something, but they probably don't know the extent of it.
I guess I was assuming that they don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure now. I'm not sure if it's just him that's...
They usually don't tell their people are gonna die what exactly is going on.
Foot soldiers, yeah. Yeah, because any one of them could be a spy, so they're not
exactly. The more people that knows, the less safe the secret is, I would presume.
Yeah. I just realized too that the note that she got from that dude at the bar that says E at the end, so I guess that's Emir, right?
Yeah.
What did he say again on that note?
This has gotten like ridiculous. We need
Oh,
to.
it has to end.
Yeah. Her partnership with Imogen.
Yeah. It's weird though, because obviously it seems they're going to bomb America, right? But the show wasn't actually filmed in America. It seems like we're going to London next.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is odd.
I just don't really know what they want from her. Like what, because it seems like they both want to keep each other close to use them in some form. I don't know
Yeah.
what Adilah would want off Imogen.
I think what Imogen is saying is that Adilah genuinely wants to get her and her daughter
Yeah,
out of here.
yeah.
So she wants them to be doing the mission at the same time while Imogen naively helps her and her daughter escape and get the hell out of everything.
This was a question I was going to ask you at the beginning. Do you think Adilah might, towards the end, like start having some kind of
A conscience?
a conscience, and then
Yes.
she's actually going to help Imogen stop this whole thing?
Yes, I think that's what's gonna happen.
If it's not because of her having a conscience, he probably might do it to save her
For the
daughter.
daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess Imogen could leverage her daughter, right, and say, you need to tell me what's going on or your daughter's gonna die.
I think that the whole like show is going to be about like this is how amazing Imogen is and what she does. She can turn like the highest ISIS leader to her side with her magical.
But if the leverage is really her daughter, then that's such an easy, like anybody could have maybe.
Right, of course.
Yeah. It makes sense with the show though, just because they're showing us that obviously Imogen seems to have had a daughter, and it's like
I still feel like there might be something more going on there. I hope anyway, because that would be a little bit more twisty and interesting,
Yeah, they've got to reveal something interesting from that, right?
you'd think.
When I said it doesn't make sense, I just meant it doesn't make sense that Adilah would have joined or become such a like high-ranking ISIS commander while balancing a daughter in Paris. It just doesn't.
That she loves so much. That's the more important thing for her as well. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. If she like she's not new, she's like fucking 12 or something.
she's not new.
I mean,
She's
it's like she
not
just like
new.
landed herself pregnant and now she's developing a conscience and fear for her daughter, right? Instead, she's been fighting against women's rights.
Yeah. I hope they explain that further.
All right, I guess that's a wrap on our discussion of episode 3. Come back next Tuesday for our episode 4 discussion. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.